Nobody who is actually really good at making money in their industry needs to sell you a course on it. If somebody is selling you a course on how to make money, chances are they've already made their money in that industry and the money is not the same, and now they need to figure out different ways to make money. Or the industry that they're in is oversaturated and now they're trying to capitalize off of that oversaturation by selling you something that now everybody is trying to do. Or they figured out how to finesse and sell you a course, and now them selling the course is making them more money than what they're actually teaching ever did. So the mentorships, the memberships, the discords, the ebooks, the online courses, the webinars, all of that stuff, 95.95% of that stuff be scams. And don't get me wrong, like, this is not me hating. Like, it's a great finesse. It really is. Because I feel like marketing is a skill in itself. And so if you know how to market yourself or market a certain lifestyle to make people want to buy stuff from you, you got it. Okay? Because if I knew how to do it, I would do it too. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I would be finessing y'all too. But a lot of it be regurgitated information that you could just find on Google or TikTok. Or if you just sat down and read a book. And I'm not saying that everybody is out here finessing. I do feel like there is a small percentage of people that are doing it like from the heart because they genuinely want to help people succeed. But most people, honey, they just getting off. I would say before you buy another course from somebody, just try your hardest to like lock in, study, do the research. And then it's like, okay, if you've done all the research, if you tried all the things and it's still not working for you and it's something that you still want to do, okay, go buy somebody's course because maybe at that point you need some type of external help. But honey, please stop letting these people finesse you in 2025. And this is coming from somebody who has purchased mentorships and books, and I've even had my own ebook. Okay, I'm trying to help y'all.
The biggest scam going on in the United States today, second only to being a member of Congress, because that's probably the biggest scam. But insurance. I don't care if it's homeowners, renters, auto, healthcare, they're all scams. We'll zero in on healthcare today because what I saw today is ridiculous. I saw a patient today who has a $20,000 deductible. $20,000. What kind of insurance agent sells a family an insurance plan with a $20,000 deductible and no telling how much they're paying every month? And that was their in-network benefits. Out-of-network benefits, their deductible was $40,000. And while we're on this subject, if you get a call, or if you're my age and your parents are on Medicaid, if you get a call or your parents get a call about Medicare and how they're missing out, don't fall for it. Medicare doesn't have salespeople. Your insurance agents are out there selling Medicare Advantage plans and they're crap. Stick with Medicare Part A and Part B. I know it's government. I'm not a big government insurance guy, but in this case, you want to stick with Medicare Part A and Part B. Comment below, what do you pay per month for health insurance and what's your deductible?
Why do I feel burnt out at 24 years old? I've not even been in my full-time career job 2 years. It's coming up to 2 years this year. And I feel drained and I feel like my soul is being crushed, and that's not even an exaggeration. Don't get me wrong, I fully understand that it's give and take. You can't just expect to take and not give anything back to society. And I understand that this is realistically the society that we live in. However, I still have such a hard time accepting this because I feel so unfulfilled day to day. And as much as my job has people that I really, really get on with and I really enjoy the company, and I do get some form of fulfillment out of being productive and helping other people because my job is in the NHS, I still have this pit in my stomach day to day where I feel like I'm wasting my life away. I just think working 5 days a week for sometimes 12-hour shifts and then doing overtime on the weekend, which I personally accept to do. However, I'm doing this because the salary that I would normally get doesn't actually cover anywhere near the things that I would like to do or like to save for. And I feel like a lot of people, well, most of the UK especially now, are under similar pressures, and they're feeling forced to be burnt out because of the hours that they're having to work just to sustain themselves. I have always kind of struggled with the idea of working a full-time job 5 days a week, in the sense that I feel like I'm quite a creative person, and working these types of jobs takes away from that. And I know a lot of people say you should maybe then pursue that kind of side of yourself as a career, but I feel like that's not really sustainable for a lot of people. And I also don't want to end up hating something that I enjoy doing now. And long term, I would absolutely love it if maybe TikTok, alongside YouTube, because YouTube is my favorite form of content, and I really like editing videos, could be something that I would be able to do and sustain myself on. However, now realistically, it would be irresponsible for me to think that that is something that I can just achieve with the click of a finger, because it takes a lot of hard work and dedication. So for now, I'm stuck with this feeling of being constantly burnt out and feeling like I can't rest. Even when I'm at home and not at work, I feel unrelaxed, and I feel like I have my brain's still overstimulated. And on occasions, I'll come home at 8 p.m. from a shift and I'll be in at 7 the next day. So it doesn't really give someone a lot of time to actually relax. And I fully understand that a lot of people do have it worse. I appreciate that. However, for me, this is something that is not going to work for me long term. And I find it really, really surprising that for some people, this is something that they're okay with. Now, being vulnerable on here, I go to therapy, and I was speaking to my therapist about this the other day, and she said, oh, it is something that you maybe have to think about realistically and just accept that this is how our society is built up and how it works. And I do get that. However, there is still something in me that does not want to accept that. I don't want to accept that this is life. 5 days a week, commuting into work, sitting there for 7.5 hours doing something that I really don't want to be doing. I would prefer to do something else. Clock watching, can't wait for my first break, can't wait for my lunch, and then overstaying on my lunch because I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to go back right now. Even just scrolling on my phone brings me more enjoyment on my breaks, or reading a book, than actually being in there. And I actually don't mind my job. I've had worse jobs in the past. So this is what's really shown me that this is actually just the system that I'm struggling with rather than the job that itself. So a lot of people always say to me, find a job that you actually enjoy. Is there one? I don't think there is. Is there a job that I would genuinely enjoy and I would prefer doing that over having my own free time? I don't think that exists. Personally, I don't dream of having a job. I dream of having my own free time back. And I don't really know why I've come on here and started ranting, well, not necessarily ranting, but talking about this topic. And I don't know what I feel like I'm going to achieve by even posting this video, but maybe it's the fact that I want other people who relate to this or maybe feel the same to know that you're not alone in this. And if you have only just been in your job 3 months after uni, or if you've been in it 5 years, or you've been in it 10 years and you feel like you're now in such a niche area of your career that you couldn't possibly leave because nowhere else would employ you, or you wouldn't get a better salary, or you know the people now so you couldn't cope with the anxiety of starting a new job, this is your sign that you can always start fresh. You can always do a new chapter. You can always start a new job. It doesn't matter. And I do speak to a lot of people at my job who have these thoughts, who have been here maybe there a bit longer. But I'm coming on here to tell you that you are never too old to start again. You are never too old to do something else with your life. Never. That is such a self-destructive way of thinking. And you're never too stuck in your situation where you can't make change. And just remember that the only person who can make change in your own life is yourself. You're the only person who can actually do something differently to change your own prerogative. If you don't do something and if you don't take action, whether that's applying for new jobs in your 10 minutes at the end of the day, or whether that's planning long term what you would like to do, or whether that's working on a side hustle whilst working in your full-time job so that you can actually maybe dedicate some more time to that in the future and be able to essentially maybe quit even your job to work on that full-time, it is completely up to you. The ball is in your court. So if maybe that's the motivation you needed, or if maybe you're just watching this and thinking she's absolutely stupid, she has no idea how the economy works, that's fine. That's fine for me. But for me, I acknowledge that it's up to me, and this is part of the step that I'm going to take, and it's admitting it publicly and also to myself. So yeah.
As a 30-year-old therapist with symptoms of burnout, I've been doing a lot of thinking lately because I'm being forced to, about where it started, what were the first signs. And you know what? I would like to say, if you're about to graduate, you just graduated, you just got a job offer, I hope this video finds you, because what I'm going to say is this. I think that two of the biggest fucking risk factors for burnout when you're 5 years into this thing is the first job you take and potentially your graduate school internship, okay? Here's what I'll say about that. Because what can happen is that these graduate level internships and master's level clinician positions straight out the gate need people. They need bodies, and there's usually a job for you there. But what can happen is that they can pose to you these great opportunities, these wonderful opportunities with populations that are really unique and that some people won't even ever get a chance to work with, and they'll say things like insight and firsthand experience. What they mean is exploitation. What they mean is, here's 40 grand. Yes, that was my first salary. Here's 40 grand. We have this incredible opportunity for you. We have a grant, and it's for us to work with men who have committed offenses, and it's incredible work, and we want to offer you a position. You just have to be careful, because when someone sings your praises and tells you that you'd be a great fit and offers you something that feels like it has a silver platter underneath it, oftentimes it's not that. It's someone they can pay 40 grand to do a job that we, as fresh in the field as we are, as new in the field as we are, have no business doing. So just be careful. Just be really careful, because if you're not, there's the potential that you will pay for it.
Did I basically start crying on the meeting with my new manager today? Yeah. Basically, she was like, I've seen you on calls. Like, you just seem like you're unhappy. I'm very burnt out with the job. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, was that easy to read? She's like, I would love to see you smile on a call. I'm like, yeah, I don't do that anymore. These meetings are draining. This job is draining. But she was very kind.
I just got scammed, and I'm posting this to raise awareness so it doesn't happen to anyone else. So I was in the market looking for a used vehicle when I stumbled upon the post. The individual wanting a car in excellent condition. I will show the description. So here's the description. It says it's excellent. Called the and he answered. He said, "Yeah, look at the car. Okay, well, that you're selling. You know why the person is breaking down problems? You own a dealership, sell like that scratching. Like, what's the take on it?" So suppose he said, "Well, it's getting a new selling his old. Oh, well, this is a great deal. Dad, he maintains, right? Oh boy, live, right? Scam, all that. Okay, about the comes in. I'm just at a full station in karma that believes people saying that guy who next to him and he was a million. Like, next
Yo, I think I got scammed. So I was selling this Nintendo 3DS XL on Marketplace, and I was saying that I was open to camera trades because I really want a camera, specifically a G7X camera, because they're so pretty. Like, everything about a G7X is like I really want it, but they're so expensive, always out of stock. And so I was hoping that someone like would trade the Nintendo for a camera, like probably not a G7X because they're really expensive, but for some camera. And this girl slides in my DM and she's like, I have a G7X, I really want this Nintendo, let's trade. So I was like, girl, I really want a G7X, like let's trade, let's meet up. And I was like, where do you live? She tells me she's 4 hours away, and I was like, damn, like let's meet up halfway. Like, and she's telling me she doesn't have a car, like she doesn't have anybody to take her, so she was hoping that I would live close by to just like stop by at her place. But I was like, no girl, like that's a whole 8-hour drive, like I don't know, that's too far. And then she's like, well, we could just ship the item to each other out. And I was like, I don't know, because I don't want to get scammed. So anyways, we agreed to ship the item out, and so we agreed on the same day, the same time, and that we would send each other the tracking slip. So I ship it out, I send her the tracking slip, and I'm like, oh, are you there at the store? And she's like, yeah, I'm like 10 minutes away. She shows me a picture of the UPS store, like she takes a pic, and then she's like, oh, here's the tracking number. She sends me just like, she typed it out in a message, and I was like, oh, they didn't give you a tracking slip. And she's like, oh, the cashier lady didn't have any printer paper anymore. Anyways, she tells me that it's gonna be here on this Monday, and it's Wednesday, and she's still texting me like, oh, have you got the camera yet? And I'm like, no, I haven't. And she's like, maybe because it was Memorial Day on Monday, or the weather, because it's been raining really bad. And I was like, maybe girl, but I was like, I don't know, because like it hasn't got here, and you already got your Nintendo literally on Saturday. So I was like, and she's like, oh, just let me know when it gets there. But I don't know if she's like, is she playing with me? Like, is she laughing in my face? Because girl, like, don't scammers like block you right as they get what they want? Like, you got the Nintendo, why haven't you blocked me? Like, at this point you're just making fun of me, like you're just laughing at me.
Just got scammed by an interview, check. Okay, basically the story is I'm looking for a graphic design job, applying all the places, yada yada yada. I have a portfolio, and people can contact me through my portfolio. And I got an email like a couple weeks ago from this girl that was looking for a remote graphic designer for this place, and it looked legit, yada yada yada. I reached out, never heard anything. Then a couple days ago, I got an email from a guy, also through my portfolio, and the email was like pretty much the exact same. And so I was like, it's kind of weird, like, is this real? Is this a scam? I'm like looking up the company's legit, the person's real. So I'm like, So then I was like, maybe HR just like has a template that they use and they just send it out, but all HR is using the same stuff. I don't know, maybe that was dumb. So I get this interview set up with this guy, and it's over Microsoft Teams, and so I feel like that felt legit in the moment. I did think it was like a Zoom call kind of thing, face to face, but when I got on this morning, he was like, yeah, it's just over text. And I never heard of this, but also I know AI is, doing its thing right now. So I thought maybe that was normal. So he asks like all the basic questions that I've been getting asked in other interviews. And so I was just kind of going with it until he started asking like when I wanted to start, if I wanted to be paid bi-weekly or weekly, and if I wanted direct deposit or check. And I was like, it's kind of weird that they're already asking this in the first interview. Not the when to start, but the other stuff. And I was like, okay. So I told him what I wanted, and then he asked what bank I use. And I like literally start crying, and I call my husband into the room, my finance man, and I was like, okay, I don't know, like I think he's gonna ask for bank information, I'm scared. And he was like, it just says like the bank, like I think it's fine. And so I do that, I just tell him my bank, and then the interview's over, and he's basically like, answers were so great, so awesome, be in touch with you tomorrow. And I literally have not had anyone tell me they'd be in contact with me tomorrow. Like, all my interviews have been weeks long. And so I was like, this is kind of strange. So anyways, I call my family and I'm like telling them about this. And we're starting to look things up, look up the company, whatever. And someone posted, like this girl posted, she got the exact same email from the exact same company. And she was worried it was a scam. And everyone in the comments is like, it's fake. It's a scam. Don't fall for that. Don't give them any of your information. So I'm pretty sure if I answered the call tomorrow that it would be like, start asking for information from my bank and stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure it's kind of like grooming vibes. Like, build a little trust with me, get to know me today. start asking more questions tomorrow because I already know my bank and my name. Okay. So anyways, I think they would start being like, oh yeah, you got the job. Let's get that bank information so we can start getting you paid. And it's a scam. So anyways, please be mindful. And I didn't think I was dumb enough to fall for a scam, but here we are. So just, I don't know, fact check. I don't know. This just like makes job searching so much worse, but I guess just be mindful and we learn lessons and hopefully it doesn't happen again.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm here for one reason only, and that's to say this generation of students, kids, whatever y'all want to call them, they're cooked. There's no hope. I done did all I can. I done tried my hardest. I'm a teacher. I done tried my hardest. I teach high school, and I have no hope. Like, I'm not even trying to, like, nothing about this is funny. I'm so serious. Like, disrespectful, addicted to phones, no need to or want to follow directions, no respect for authority. Like, there's like all of this is out the window. Like, there's none of that. I genuinely question every day if I want to have kids of my own because of how cooked this generation is. I pray for y'all kids. My kids are gonna be weird. They ain't gonna have friends because they could never.
This is going to be a bit of a vulnerable post for me. I've debated whether or not I should even make this video, but I had what I guess you could call a crash out this morning. There's a lot of reasons why that happened, but one of the main ones is that I just got really overwhelmed, and it started with me not being able to sleep in as much as I thought I was going to this morning. I just couldn't sleep because I wake up really early for work, and I've been working the last 5 days. I have a day off today, and then I go back to work for 2 days tomorrow, which for a 9 to 5 person, 5 days is normal. I work as, which obviously is still hard, but I work as a nurse, and my shifts at the hospital are 12 hours long. And my shifts that I work from my remote job are 8 hours. So my remote job is very easy compared to my hospital job, but it's just hard when I'm working so many days in a row. I start to feel hopeless, and like, the work that I do doesn't make a difference, which is really difficult, especially if you're someone who went into nursing hoping that you could make a difference in the world. And I know that I make a difference in patients' lives, but in the grand scheme of things, working in the hospital is just very hard. And then I just feel like it's really hard for me to have a good life balance because I wake up at 5 in the morning, I go to the gym, I'm just pushing, like rushing through my workout as fast as I can so I can get home, get ready, be at work by 8. I'm at the hospital from 8 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Sometimes later, depending on how long it takes me to give report to the next nurse. And then I don't get home till 9. I have, let's say, an hour to decompress before I have to go to sleep because I have to do it all over again the next day. So it just feels like, the best way to describe it is it feels like I'm falling off the face of the earth when I go to work. That's like how I explain it to myself. So that was like the main reason for my crash out this morning, was that. And then also just like wishing that I would have went into a job where I have more flexibility with my schedule. Yes, I do get more days off in a row with nursing because full-time for us is 3/12s, but I also work 2 jobs. So I've been working like 5 days a week between the two so that I could pay off loans, work on my retirement, doing all the things that we're supposed to do. I'm 29. I feel like there's a lot of pressure in your late 20s, especially early 30s, to like, that's the time when you're supposed to have everything together by now. And I still feel very lost in that regard. Stuck is a good word. This is going very long, but just wanted to share this for anyone who may be feeling the same way. And I'm just going to stop this for a second. So yes, the aspect that I struggle with is feeling like I don't have a balance. Seeing a lot of people who have more flexibility in their job, they get off work by 12, they have a whole day. Obviously, every job has its downsides, every job has its advantages. I'm just really struggling with that and feeling like I am not fulfilled in the job that I have. But in order to move up in nursing and make more or have those more flexible schedules, you have to go back to school, which is like, okay, let's put my life on more of a hold for the next 2 or 3 years while I'm getting done with school, to maybe get a better paying job or maybe not. And so that's stressful. And then on top of that, trying to be a good fiance, daughter, sister, friend, cat mom, dog mom, stay fit, eat healthy, get enough sleep, have time for myself. All of those different things just add up. And okay, it probably has to do a little bit with the fact that it is, I'm in my luteal phase. So I feel like every month during my luteal phase, I just feel like I'm having like a crisis in my life, and all of these things that overwhelm me generally that I kind of push down like come to the surface, which is probably a good thing because it's keeping me in touch with, you know, my thoughts and my feelings that I tend to push down, especially when life is busy. So moral of the story is that I just want other people to know that it's okay to feel stuck sometimes. And I keep telling myself that this discomfort that I'm feeling is going to propel me into something better for me and is going to help me find something that gives me that purpose and allows me to feel more fulfilled in my life, and like I'm doing something that's helping others while also helping myself and not just constantly giving all the time. Wow, I was not expecting for this to be a crying video, so that's embarrassing. But yeah, I just want to share what I've been feeling today and for the last like probably year or two in my life to hopefully inspire someone to make a change, to know that you're not the only person going through this. And I feel like the only way out is through for those of us that do feel that way. And I do feel like it's more common than people are willing to share. And so that's why I've been wrestling today with whether or not to even film this video that's now 6 minutes long, because nobody's probably going to watch it, but maybe one person will watch it and it will make them feel better knowing that they're not alone. Because I know that there are people that feel this way and I'm not alone, and hormones are crazy. There's hope for us though. And so that's why I'm making this, because maybe 3 years from now, I'll be able to look back on this video and be like, oh, that sucks that you were so stuck, but you're not stuck anymore. And so this is kind of like my little reminder to myself that it's not always going to be hard, and thinking back to how hard things felt a couple years ago, I feel like I'm strides past that. So maybe when I turn 30, I will figure it all out. We will see. But if you've made it this far in this video, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my unfiltered mind. And I hope that this video reaches someone who may need the little boost to push through the discomfort and keep going today. Thanks for watching.